Yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to another video. We got some good news that just hit the wire a little bit ago, basically early news. And it's kind of a rumor, but we're going to be talking about that first. But we are green overall for the day. But with that being said, we just had a big move. Let's look at the SPY overall because the SPY has a bigger move. It was kind of insane because I'm not even going to lie. I started playing a put option at around these levels. I was up, I was up like 50%. And then the rumor came out, and then we had a big candlestick all the way up to like 543, which was insane. And then low key, luckily for us, it's falling back down, or it fell back down. And then at around this level, I got my 50% back. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to sell it in case this rumor is true. So we talk about the rumor first, and then we're going to talk about some other news that's coming out that brought the market up yesterday. And yeah, so basically the rumor that came out is basically to kind of get the tensions a little bit softer on the war. Apparently, okay, this is what I read, right? We're gonna kind of slow down on the tariffs to China and just tariffs overall. So that kind of brought up the market a bunch, and we're still building up. And especially if we get the rumor to be true, this you can see SPY maybe at the 550 to the 560 level, just depending on what is going on, basically, and then how they're gonna basically change the tariffs. And we did come out with something else saying that tariffs are going to be a little bit lenient on China too. So keep stocks like Apple and Nvidia on your mind and on your radar. These are the ones that are getting affected by the China and the US trade war. Thing about Nvidia though, the chips are kind of banned, so it's kind of harder to get the chips back unless we get like some news that's saying that they can sell their H20s again. You can see Nvidia maybe back up to that 115 to that 120 area. But with that being said, I've been looking at Apple, and I even had an overnight call. I did an overnight call for Apple. I like to do plays, especially when Apple's at that 200 range to that 190 range. I like to do some calls 2 to 3 weeks ahead, just in case if we get a news spike. And luckily for me, I did it the day before, and I did it previously too. What we're going to talk about overall with the market, we're going to be pulling Apple up for an example. So we did get some good news with Apple over basically for a day and then over midnight hours, and it spiked up, but then we were bearish overall. And that's kind of what I was looking at before we got this good news. We were going to go up and then be bearish overall. We're kind of seeing it kind of form at first until that news came out, of course. But we were kind of selling off again, and I was seeing Apple with a bigger sell off today, maybe back down to that 200 level. So I was about to play a put, but then that news came out. So be very cautious, because especially if the rumor becomes true, you can make a decent amount of money off of this. So I just wanted to start it off with the rumor because honestly, that's something that just came out and I want you guys to understand it. But yeah, so basically what happened yesterday, we had some optimism in the market overall, with the China tensions kind of easing. So that kind of came out a little bit better. We have an ETF deal with crypto.com. So basically you've seen Trump media kind of come back a little bit. DJT ticker symbol, it came back a tiny bit yesterday, and we just been bullish overall. So if you guys want to play some short-term calls and puts, you guys can, because honestly, the stock normally goes up and then it falls down after all the hype is like kind of away. So keep that on your mind. Another one is Bitcoin. Yesterday, I told y'all it's going to hit 90K sometime this week. I didn't know it was going to hit it yesterday or today, basically in the pre-market area. But I mean, Bitcoin's 24, or crypto overall is 24/7. But we finally hit that $90,000 level. So some stocks to look at is MSTR and Bitcoin, and IBIT. I'm sorry. So with that being said, we do still need to see a constant flow of Bitcoin going upwards for MSTR to go upwards. MSTR also moves with SPY, so keep SPY on your mind and on your radar, because that normally moves with MSTR. And also another one, which I finally sold my call, or I had calls for it when Bitcoin dropped to like that $70,000 level, and IBIT is like an ETF that moves with Bitcoin, and we were like all the way down to like that $42 level. I think that's when I bought it, and then I finally sold it yesterday. Should have waited a little bit, but I sold it yesterday because I was already up a decent amount. With that being said, IBIT is a good one to look at, especially if you see Bitcoin selling off. But people are kind of hyping up Bitcoin right now, saying that it's the new safe haven too, and a lot of people are just loading up on it. So earnings, Tesla, everybody was waiting for Tesla. The earnings were kind of low, but then we got some good news kind of out, saying that Elon Musk is going to kind of like basically lock in the Tesla more than he locks in the politics, which everybody kind of wants. But also he kind of came out on social media saying that he's not going to quit. I mean, that's kind of what he said originally. He's not going to quit, but he's just going to put more time into Tesla. But honestly, last time we had Tesla falling a lot, this rumor kind of came out, and then the White House kind of said that too. But at the same time, the rumor turned out to be fake. So keep that in mind while trading Tesla. Don't hold any long-term calls, but you can hold some short-term calls for now, especially if it's still climbing. And then when everybody starts selling off Tesla again, you guys can put a put option. I'm not bearish or bullish for Tesla. I'm overall bullish for Tesla though. I'm not gonna lie with everything that they're having, but you kind of have to wait until everything is out. Like the robots, you see that in like active use, people are actively buying it, and the robot taxis, people are actually buying too. But with that being said, Boeing, keep Boeing on your radar for today because the earnings came out. Didn't really look too much into it yet, but we could check it out a little bit later. And then after close, I'm gonna look at IBM and Chipotle. Tomorrow, we got American Airlines and then Intel, T-Mobile, NASDAQ, some other ones that is pretty decent. Friday, I'm not really into Friday, but you guys can look at that if you guys want. So solar stocks rally as U.S. intends to slap tariffs as high as 3,500%, which is insane. So keep U.S.-made solar stocks on your mind and on your radar for the future, because honestly, if these tariffs are true, I think people are going to be going going to U.S. made, so they don't got to pay that tariff because that is insane. Bitcoin rallies to 90K. So basically a rally of more than 20%, which is insane. People have been buying it at the 70 to the $80,000 level. You guys are probably pumped up right now. So with hopes of trade progress, with that rumor coming out too, we have been getting that rally. So the rally that we seen yesterday, some best gold stocks because gold is reaching new highs. But if we get kind of a trade, like leniency on trade, you might see gold to the downside. So you can start playing gold to the downside. But some is HMY, Harmony Gold Mining. We got ORLA, GFI, SSRM. So keep these ones on your mind because they might be going downward, especially if we get some good news with trade. If or maybe we might make some new highs again. We did hit 3,500, which was insane. So OG Investor says Nvidia can reach $150 after earnings, which is kind of, I mean, Nvidia is trading at $100 right now, but if they can do something insane after earnings, you can probably see it reach 130. I personally think it might reach that 120 level and start basically balancing around there. But keep Nvidia on your mind for their earnings. JP Morgan see gold prices going to $4,000, especially if this trade war just keeps on getting more and more insane. If you keep on getting bad news, it can probably hit 4,000. So that's why I'm saying those gold minings are just great. So Tesla did miss their Q1 results, but stock jumps after Musk says time at Doge will drop significantly. And I think sooner or later, I think his time there is going to be gone anyway, but they might do something to extend it. But we did see Tesla rise like I think 6%, 8% almost. So, or 7% almost. Trump tariffs lives updates. Trump says tariffs won't stay at 145%. So yesterday he kind of said that, or the White House kind of said that they're not trying to keep it up that much and they're trying to actually make a deal this time. But I think China's still trying to play hardball and kind of want the trade deal to benefit them more. So that's kind of bad at the same time if they don't really want to make a good deal that benefits both. So we might be in this trade war for a little bit. But I did hear that they're going to be talking in May about it. So I guess we'll know in May. So just understand market's probably going to be up and down until May. And maybe even May, we might get some bad news with it. Intel is cutting over 20% of the workforce. So normally this sounds bad for companies, but Intel, everybody, I mean, if you guys don't know about Intel, they've been doing pretty bad recently. Not recently, for a while now. But the new CEO, man, he's probably doing this for a reason. Maybe some budget cuts to do some more things, but I don't know. But that's what I was kind of thinking, that it's probably going to benefit the company more rather than, people seeing this and being like, oh, Intel's bad. So maybe they're actually locking in finally. Some price levels to look at. So for the SPY, I will be looking at it. So today I was originally going to look at it at that 540, but then it bounced up past the 540. So my next levels was the 542.8, 543.9. I mean, we kind of have a little bounce off the 543.9 right now, but especially if this rumor becomes true, you're probably going to see a break past that. But that's what I was kind of looking at for puts, and I was just going to play a put option, let it bounce, because if we zoom out a little bit more, we seen that it kind of bounced off these two levels previously when we went up and then kind of just sold off a bunch. But honestly, like big sell-offs like this is basically with news. So honestly, we might sell off a little bit, might bounce off, might retest, and then maybe break it. If we break it, look at 546, 549, 550, 552.5, and then at 555, and then 560 to the upside. But if we continue down like we're doing right now, look at that 540 once again. And then past that 540, I will be looking at 547.5, 535, and then 531.6. So keep those on your radar. Apple, I'm kind of pumped up for Apple to see how it reacts with this China news, especially if it comes out legit. But look at 208, 209.5, 210, 212.8, 215, and then at 220 in the future, if we can break past that to the downside, I'll be looking at that 205, 204.5, 203.5, 202.10, and then 201.5. For NVIDIA, look at that $100 level once again. We did just have a big sell-off. Oh my God. Look at that $100 level. $100 level is going to be key. If we break below that, 98.5, 97.5, 95, and that $90 level. To the upside, 100 again, I guess, if it does bounce below that. And then 103.9, 104.8, 105, 106.5, 107.5, and 110. And there are going to be some key levels for your short-term trading. Tesla, we got the earnings. We are having a decent sell-off. I mean, that's what I mean. Sometimes if you rally up a bunch, you'll have a decent little sell-off, you know. So look at that 235.7, 230, 225, 220, and then 219 to the downside. To the upside, look at 250, 260, 265, and that 270 for Tesla. With that being said, thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. I'm going to be starting to come out with some courses. Know what I mean? And then some courses videos. So stay tuned for that. Have those post notifications on so you guys never miss out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.